This is Artemis. She's a cat, and yes, she hikes. I'm Rex, and I travel to old, weird, and sometimes slightly cursed places and make videos about them. I have been to a good handful of places in my life, 15 something countries, a lot of weird places, but I think this place takes the absolute cake as the strangest I have ever been. I've been doing it for a few years now with varying degrees of success and at least one emergency surgery while I was in Brazil.
Sorry, no problem, no problem.
I took some time off. I'm back, and apparently so is she. Artemis is named after the Greek goddess of the moon, the hunt, and wilderness. I'd like to say that was a deliberate choice based on her sense of character. Honestly, she just looked like an Artemis, and we had just gotten back from Turkey. Turns out I was right, though. She's been hiking since I took her off the streets a few years ago. Trails, road trips, camping. She doesn't need any convincing or anything, she just goes. Now, she did go missing in Cuyahoga Valley once last year. For a week. A very, very long week. But I put on a post online asking for people to help look for her, and it quickly went locally viral. There were hundreds of people out in the park searching for her. She had last been seen in a pretty dense area of the trail system, but she was still wearing her orange vest. I told everyone I was confident we'd find her. She was microchipped. She had her vest on, though I did know she could squeeze out of it. I still lost about 10 pounds that week from stress worrying about her. A family that lived near the park had been searching too. They set up a humane trap near their property. It was about a half mile from where she had disappeared, and they told me that they had spotted her with her vest still on. So on my next day off, I drove out to sit by the trap and wait. As I came through the trees in the morning, I could see the cage was closed. Now, they told me they had a black cat that was an indoor-outdoor, so I needed to be sure. I got up to the cage and I said her name. She screamed at me.
I love you.
They came out of their house right then, and I was so frantic. I told them we had her, but I didn't know how the trap worked, so they came over to help me get it to the car. I got her to the car, and she just laid on my lap the entire drive home. She was fine, though, fully recovered and asking to go out within a day. Completely unbothered by the whole thing as far as I could tell. She now has a GPS tracker attached to her vest, but I don't think she has any interest in a repeat. That was also before any of our cross-country road trips. Before the drive out west to dig for fossils.
Oh, there it is.
Before the run down to Texas. Thousands of miles in a car. She may not have known at first what she signed up for with me, but she's never put up a fight, and she's always ready to go on a new adventure anytime I'm ready to bring her on one. She just makes herself right at home. That's who she is. We're in Cuyahoga Valley National Park right now, less than 20 minutes from my house in Ohio. I come here because it's close, and that's honestly how it started. But it really didn't take long for me to realize what was actually out here. These gorges are genuinely stunning, in a way you don't expect to find 5 minutes off the highway. There's waterfalls and sandstone ledges in an ancient river valley, and underneath all of it, history that most people walking these trails have no idea about. This valley's been inhabited for 12,000 years. The Erie Canal runs right through it. There are stone locks and canal-era foundations being slowly swallowed by the forest out here. It doesn't announce itself, but it's there if you look for it. And that's kind of what this whole channel is. So the channel. I started making videos about travel and ancient ruins and the places that don't generally make it to the standard tourist guides. I've been to a lot of them in Egypt, Italy, Mexico, Turkey, mostly following the thread of wherever human beings did something interesting or terrible or both, which historically speaking is most places. I took some time off after the Brazil situation. Long story short, I needed an emergency surgery in a country where I didn't speak the language. I'm laying here in the hospital in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, waiting to get a emergency appendectomy and get my appendix removed. I lost 60 pounds in the process, and somewhere in the recovery, I started thinking more clearly about what I actually wanted to make and do. The answer is, it's the oldest places, the darkest history, and the sites that have been sitting for 5,000 years. The stories of the people who built them, lived in them, or didn't survive them. There's a whole genre of travel content built around beautiful places and good food. And I'm not saying that those places aren't worth going. I've been to plenty of them myself. Some of them have genuinely stopped me in my tracks and brought tears to my eyes. But what pulls me somewhere is almost never the scenery, it's the story underneath it. The older and the darker and the stranger the better. The plague islands, the witch trial grounds, the megalithic tombs that were old before writing was invented. The ruins nobody goes to because there isn't a gift shop. And sometimes they're just plain odd. The things that make you stop and say, what is this and why does it exist? A lot of where we end up comes from a site called Atlas Obscura. Not a sponsor, though I'm here if you're ever interested, Atlas. If you know it, you'll understand immediately. If you don't, then it's a catalog of the world's most genuinely strange and off the beaten path places. It has taken me to some of the best things I've ever seen and filmed. And that's what this channel is. Dark, old, overlooked, and occasionally inexplicable. But we're not starting somewhere distant, we're starting right here. The first series back is the Ohio Hidden Corners. I know how that sounds coming from a channel that's covered ancient Turkish ruins and Egyptian tombs. It turns out Ohio has a lot of strange things in it. Right here in this valley, there's a blacksmith who spent decades carving one of the most remarkable hidden rock sculptures in the country, and almost nobody knows it's there. There's a sandstone ridge in Hinckley where an artist left dozens of carvings that hikers walk past every day. And there's a field in a small town called Latonia that has 200 industrial coke ovens in it that look like something from another world entirely. Artemis is coming along for all of them. I would like her to be the on-camera star for these videos, but she kind of does what she wants when we go out. One episode every 2 weeks, more if I can manage it, and then Scotland. Here's what's going on with that. In September, I'm spending 20 days in Scotland with my amazing mom and sister. Not the standard Scotland trip, not the castle tours and whiskey tastings, although there will probably be some whiskey and most certainly plenty of castles. I'm calling it an ancient macabre itinerary. Edinburgh to Orkney, to Shetland, and back through the borders. 20 days covering prehistoric megaliths, Viking burial grounds, witch trial sites, haunted ruins, Neolithic passage tombs, and a few places that have no reasonable explanation whatsoever. Orkney has a stone circle older than Stonehenge, and a Neolithic village that was preserved by a sandstorm for 4,000 years, the stone furniture still inside the houses. Shetland has an Iron Age tower that Norse sagas used as a setting for an elopement. Stirling has the exact spot where thousands of women were burned as witches and still has no memorial. And then there's Maze Howe, a Neolithic passage tomb aligned to the winter solstice, built 5,000 years ago, and on its walls, Viking graffiti from the 12th century. The translations including boasting about treasure, complaints about the weather, and one man declaring himself the best rune carver in the West. 1,200 years ago, in a 5,000-year-old tomb. I've also been working on a fully illustrated travel guide to this entire trip. Every site, historical context, practical visitor information, and I'll hopefully have it on Amazon when the series goes up. If that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe now, hit the bell, and you'll get every episode as it drops. If you've got questions for any of the sites, drop them in the comments. I've done a lot of research for the trip and I'm happy to go deeper into any of it. The Scotland series starts in October, 30 plus episodes, one a week. She's sadly not coming to Scotland with me, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this is the last trip I do without her. If you're new here, welcome. Subscribe if you want ancient ruins, dark history, and the occasional cat. If you've been here before, hi, I'm back, and I have better material this time. I also have my website back up, thebeardedvagabond.com. Links in the description, QRs on the screen. I'm Rex. That's Artemis. I'll see you on the next one. Whoa, oh my god, she's coming back after me. I knew she was going to do that. I knew it. Where are you going, girl? Come on, we're going this way. Double cross it. Good girl, Artemis. Come on. Good girl. You did it once, you can do it twice. Good girl. Good girl. A little smarter this time.